President Biden just signed a new inflation law, stimulus package update, shipping law, plus guns deal. We got a lot to cover in today's video. Fourth stimulus package update, as well as lots of other news on our show today. Supermarket chain Kroger reporting that people are shopping less and switching to store brands thanks to inflation. The bipartisan Senate gun proposal that even Minority Leader Mitch McConnell's gonna sign, plus one more bill. Yeah, we're gonna go into that bill later in this video. Yep, lots happening on Capitol Hill. You guys do not miss this one. First, a very quick hello. How are you guys doing today? Hope you guys are having a great morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the US. I'm right here giving you guys the latest on the US economy, stock market updates, housing market updates, and all of the financial news that matters to you. So if you haven't already, please drop a like for the video and also subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and get started, guys. So this is a really big deal. President Biden just signed the Ocean Shipping Reform Act into law just a few days ago, and really this could make a major dent on inflation and high prices. But here's President Biden talking about it just before it was passed.
We were paying $3,500 a container in 2020, and then by September, October of last year, we were paying upwards of $20,000 to $25,000.
Yeah, it's outrageous.
Outrageous.
As you know, one of the big reasons why prices are going up is the cost of shipping things across the Pacific in particular. There's only 9 shipping companies, 9, N-I-N-E, major ocean line shipping companies who ship from Asia to the United States. These companies have raised their prices by as much as 1,000%. How much have your costs gone up?
By $100 million. Now, we're not a huge company, but that $100 million increase that they passed on to us is more than our entire profit.
They are depending on us to be able to deliver those products from our farms to their countries.
Absolutely.
And if we don't fix this problem, we will lose our customers.
We've got to change this. I asked the Congress to pass a piece of legislation to remedy this. Democrats and Republicans voted for it. It's over in the House of Representatives. I expect it to be voted on fairly shortly, and I expect it to pass, and I'm looking forward to signing it, because we've got to bring down prices. The underlying elements of our economy are incredibly strong, stronger than any other nation in the world. But inflation is a problem. This won't solve it all, but it'll solve a big piece of it.
So yeah, those 9 shipping companies, President Biden said that they raked in the profits, and the cost that got passed on, as you might guess, it went directly to consumers, sticking it to the American families and businesses because they could. Furniture, appliances, clothing, anything and everything across the Pacific on a ship from Asia saw a big price tag shoot up, and families and businesses felt the squeeze right here at home, end quote. So what this law does is it improves oversight of ocean shipping, and it makes changes that they say will actually ease inflation and lessen the export backlogs. The White House specifically said that this will help lower costs for American retailers as well as farmers and consumers. We'll have to see if this actually pans out, but that's what they're saying. Now, apart from the signing ceremony, a White House official discussed how rising ocean shipping costs are a major contributing factor to increased costs for the American families. And they said this, quote, during the pandemic, ocean carriers increased their prices as much as 1,000%. This is just crazy. I don't know anything that's gone up 1,000%. Anyway, and too often these ocean carriers are refusing to take the American exports back to Asia, leaving with empty containers instead. This is costing farmers and ranchers and our economy a lot of money, end quote. So yeah, hopefully this means a lot of money that's gonna come back to us. I mean, am I right, guys? Hopefully. Now, when the bill was signed, President Biden reiterated that tackling inflation is still his #1 priority. We'll see about that, but this is what he's saying. And he says that he believes that the legislation will bring down inflation at least marginally. American-based brands and retailers supported the Ocean Shipping Reform Act. CEO of the American Apparel and Footwear Association, Steve Lamar, said this: the bill will directly address price gouging in the ocean shipping industry, which played a large role in the empty shelves, late deliveries, and increased prices American consumers have faced during the past year, and will protect American companies from predatory practices that threaten their businesses, end quote. Now, the National Retail Federation also championed the bill by saying signing the OSRA will provide the Federal Maritime Maritime Commission with the additional authority that it needs to address unfair business practices that have existed for decades and have been exacerbated by the pandemic. These improvements come at a critical time when inflation has reached a 40-year high and will help ease pressure on American businesses, workers, and consumers, end quote. And pretty much just in time too, right? Because according to grocery store chain Kroger, shoppers at the grocery stores are buying less and switching to store brands. Kroger is one of the largest grocery store chains in the United States, and we're basically proving what everybody's been thinking. This decades high inflation is changing U.S. consumers' grocery shopping habits. And they said that budget-constrained shoppers were buying fewer items in stores, favoring Kroger's cheaper store brands instead of name brands, and switching from beef to pork. Is pork that much cheaper than beef? I don't even know the price difference on those two, but you guys let me know. Now, Walmart, the largest retailer in the United States, said that some customers are switching from buying gallons of milk to buying half gallons. Walmart customers are also increasingly buying store brands. Dollar General, the largest U.S. dollar store chain, is seeing its core customers, those with household incomes under $40,000 a year, quote, start to shop more intentionally. They also added that the high gas prices are leading some customers to focus on driving to stores that are closer to their homes. And what they're planning to do is to add more $1 items as well as lower priced private label brands to its shelves. Other discount chains also say that they're attracting new customers seeking cheaper alternatives. Now, the president of the grocery outlet said last month, consumers are clearly feeling pinched by inflation and looking to stretch their grocery dollar. We have seen more new customers shopping with us, end quote. And to put a number to it, Moody's Analytics said that the typical U.S. household is spending about $460 more every single month than they did last year to purchase the same basket of goods and services. I think we're all pretty much feeling the pinch, you guys, right? Now, quick question for you guys. If you happen to shop at Dollar General, does it actually save you money to shop at Dollar General versus shopping at Kroger or shopping at Walmart? You guys let me know in the comments down below. But this is why I keep returning to the article that we read last time about a stimulus check for low and middle income Americans. Basically, anybody who needs it to cover 3 months worth of inflation, right? So if we even that out to roughly $500 a month, that would translate to a $1,500 check for people who need help. But what do you guys think? Drop me a comment down below if you agree with that one. Now, at least they're getting a move on in some other things. Yes, good news for our veterans. The Senate just passed a historic bill to help veterans exposed to burn pits during military service. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called it the most significant expansion of healthcare benefits to our veterans in generations. So this is about burn pits where they used to burn waste, basically, including everyday trash, munitions, hazardous material, and chemical compounds at military sites throughout Iraq and Afghanistan until about 2010. Our veterans were exposed to the fumes and the toxins that these burn pits would produce, and now they have these serious short-term and long-term health conditions. President Biden said that he believes that the burn pits may have caused the brain cancer that killed his son Beau, an Iraq War veteran, back in 2015. During his State of the Union address earlier this year, President Biden called on Congress to pass this legislation. Senator John Tester explained that what this bill will do is to address decades of inflation and failure by our government, expanding eligibility for VA healthcare to more than 3.5 million combat veterans exposed to burn pits. So just a little bit of highlights for you guys. This bill would widely expand healthcare resources and benefits to former military service members exposed to burn pits and would also provide coverage for up to 3.5 million toxic exposed veterans. It also adds 23 conditions related to burn pit as well as toxic exposure, including hypertension, to the VA's list of illnesses that have been incurred or exacerbated during the military service. Overall, basically removing the burden for veterans to prove that their toxic exposure resulted in these conditions. Investments in the VA healthcare facilities, claims processing, and the VA workforce, while also strengthening federal research on toxic exposure. Now, this has been a long time coming, you guys. As comedian and political commentator Jon Stewart pointed out way before, the bottom line is our country exposed our own veterans to poison for years, and we knew about it, and we did not act with urgency and appropriateness. And therefore, we lost men and women who served this country. They've died out of our inaction, end quote. Now, for the vets who are watching the show right now, I hope that this is some good news for you guys right here. If you have any vets, if you're related to a vet, if you're married to a vet, you know, my heart goes out to anyone who's suffered as a result of this massive dropping of the ball. And by the way, if you happen to be friends with a vet, related to a vet, definitely share this video with them. I'm pretty sure they're going to enjoy this good news. Now, another bill that they just announced in the Senate has been a long time coming as well. It's a bipartisan group of 20 senators led by Senators Chris Murphy as well as John Cornyn, and they announced that they have agreed to a common sense proposal proposal to curb gun violence. Yep, this is another one for the books. We're talking about the Second Amendment here. And really, this headline here is they already have 10 Republicans signed onto this bipartisan framework, which means any legislation passed on this has a pretty good chance of mustering the 60 votes that are going to be needed and overcoming a filibuster on the Senate floor. President Biden has already committed to signing it as early as now. He said, quote, "This would be the most significant gun safety legislation to pass Congress in decades," end quote. The 9-point bipartisan plan would send federal resources to set up red flag laws to keep guns out of the hands of people deemed dangerous to the community, invest billions of dollars in children and family mental health services, fund school-based mental health service, fund new safety measures at schools, and strengthen criminal background check requirements for gun buyers younger than the age of 21. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer praised the framework agreement as a good first step to ending the persistent inaction to the gun violence epidemic, the very which that has plagued our country and terrorized our children for far too long, end quote. Now, he also promised to put the bill on the floor as soon as possible once the text of the agreement is finalized. So I guess we should be seeing a vote on that pretty soon. We'll see. I'll definitely keep you guys posted on that. And this could happen as early as June 20th. This is after they finish their work for the bill on the vets. Now, even Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell seems to have signed off on it. Basically, he's saying, "I continue to hope their discussions yield a bipartisan product that makes significant headway on key issues like mental health and school safety, respects the Second Amendment, earns broad support in the Senate, and makes a difference in our country," end quote. Speaker Nancy Pelosi appreciated the step forward, but still, she vowed to continue fighting for more aggressive gun control measures. Quote, "As we move forward on the bipartisan framework, we are continuing to fight for more life-saving measures, including universal background checks, banning high-capacity magazines, and raising the age to buy assault weapons, which must become law," end quote. And guess what? The Senate holdout, who we always talk about on this channel, he's all for it too. Senator Joe Manchin, he says no law-abiding gun owners should be offended by this.
This doesn't go far enough for many people. It goes too far for some other people. The bottom line is, Jake, for the first time, we've been able to come down this path and start with something that's sensible and reasonable. It's all based around common sense. It's based around children. It's based around prevention and intervention. That's what it's based about. So we've got to take what we've got as a positive and work off of this. But this piece of legislation, as drafted, should not be threatening to any law-abiding citizen in the United States of America. Not one. And no law-abiding gun owner should be offended by this. We take no rights away, no privileges away. We don't basically threaten you're going to lose anything at all. Except maybe if we don't do this, you might lose a child or a grandchild.
Advocates even called it a victory. Quote, "The framework is a 30-year breakthrough in the making. We applaud this historic step forward for gun violence prevention, one born out of the recognition that this nation needs change and action to save American lives from preventable gun violence. This is a historic new beginning that breaks the stranglehold of the gun industry," end quote. Everytown for Gun Safety, a gun violence prevention advocacy group, said that if enacted, the bipartisan framework would provide the basis for the first major federal gun safety law in nearly 26 years. Quote, "We applaud this bipartisan coalition led by Senators Murphy and Corn for leading the push to address our nation's raging gun violence crisis. We call on their colleagues to answer the call of history and honor the victims and survivors of gun violence with long overdue action," end quote. They may not have gotten everything that they were hoping for, but like they said, this is a solid first step. The legislative framework calls for including domestic violence, restraining orders in the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, clarifying the definition of a federally licensed firearm dealer to include more people who sell a high volume of firearms, and creating new penalties for people who illegally purchase and traffic firearms. But I'll be sure to update you guys on my future videos. Prepare now. Stimulus checks and tax refunds cannot come soon enough. Diesel and gas prices are soaring. With bans on food exports, droughts, and global inflation, empty shelves have been replaced by higher and higher food prices every time on our grocery store shelves. The price of milk, meats, eggs, and cooking oils, they're all hitting record highs. It seems like the middle class just can't catch a break. Have you ever dropped your phone and cracked the screen and wished you had insurance on it? Yeah, sucks, doesn't it? And you certainly wouldn't wreck your car and then go look for insurance, would you? I don't think so. Heating and air conditioning systems fail unexpectedly and cost thousands of dollars to repair. How about that upstairs toilet leaking downstairs? How about the water heater or a surprise leaky roof? Yep, could cost thousands. But don't let Murphy's Law catch you by surprise. Get your free home home warranty quote and never have to worry about expensive home repairs again. Link in the description down below. That's right, you guys, get your free home warranty quote link in the description today. For now, this is your stimulus package update, your daily news update, President Biden's new law to help with inflation. We cover the consumer report from retail companies, the bill to help our vets, and finally the framework for some major gun control laws. Yep, stimulus picture is a little bit hazy right now, but we're not giving up hope, you guys. We'll keep an eye on this and all of these issues going forward. As always, I hope you guys will stick with me till the end. And as always, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Big thank you for lighting up the like button. I appreciate that. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.